Is financial freedom the ultimate destination? Welcome to Think Big channel. The idea of financial freedom sounds downright irresistible, doesn't it? It's a dream that doesn't just captivate traders like us but also grabs hold of 9-to-5ers, entrepreneurs, investors, and startup hustlers alike. We hear about it so often that we've stopped asking ourselves, are we even getting it right? Is it the finish line or just a milestone along the way? Could it be liberation, or a sneaky trap woven from our deepest desires? Let's hit the pause button for a second and imagine this. You wake up tomorrow to find $50 million sitting pretty in your bank account, enough to kick back and never work another day in your life. What's your next move? Quit the job. Delete MT5 from your phone. Jet off on a global adventure, snag a massive dream home, gift your parents a luxurious condo, and enroll your kids in the fanciest international school. Sounds amazing, right? But what happens after that? 3 months down the line, a year later, when all those material dreams are checked off, how will you spend your mornings? Will you feel fulfilled? At peace? Or will you start feeling an emptiness creeping in, pushing you to chase a new kind of freedom all over again? Financial freedom isn't wrong, but it can be a mirage shimmering just out of reach. If you don't truly understand what freedom means to you, are you chasing financial freedom because you genuinely crave liberty, or are you just trying to escape your current job, your fears, your daily grind? Maybe what you're really after isn't that $50 million jackpot, but the feeling of not being weighed down by money, the chance to live the life you've always wanted, on your terms. So, the real question isn't how to get $50 million, it's this: if you had it right now, would you live differently? And if the answer's no, then is financial freedom even the destination you thought it was? I'll never forget the first time I heard the phrase, financial freedom. A buddy sent me this short clip of a guy standing on a beach, rocking a crisp white shirt, sipping coffee with a laptop open behind him showing financial charts. This dude was raking in tens of thousands of dollars a day with just a few clicks. My friend was hyped, and I didn't say a word, but inside, I was electrified. I thought, I can do that too. Why am I slaving away 8 hours a day? Why not take a faster, more independent path? That's how I got into trading, not because I was passionate about charts or dreamed of being a pro trader, but because I saw it as the quickest road to financial freedom. But here's the thing, every shortcut comes with detours that stretch on for miles, and trading is no exception. At first, it was a rush. I nailed my first few trades, doubled my account in no time, and started daydreaming about a life where I didn't have to work. I'd just sit at home, fire up the laptop for a couple of hours, and watch the money roll in. I even whipped up an Excel sheet to map it all out. If I made $2,000 a day, that's over $700,000 in a year. A few years of that, and financial freedom would be mine for the taking. I told my family, just wait, I'm done with the 9-to-5 life soon. I even turned down a partnership offer because I was so sure I'd be rich on my own. Why share the profits? Then the market turned on me. A sudden drop, a bombshell from the Fed, a night I forgot to set a stop loss, and just like that, a third of my account was gone. I told myself I'd recover, so I cranked up my trading volume. I started over trading, threw discipline out the window, and went all in to get back at the market. You can guess what happened next. My account blew up, completely wiped out. And after that? Nothing but a sinking feeling in my gut, confusion about what I was even chasing, and hours spent staring blankly at charts, unable to place a single trade. Is that what freedom looks like? I started asking myself a tough question: is financial freedom all about quitting the rat race, dodging bosses, and doing nothing at all? Or is it about having the freedom to choose what you love, even if it doesn't pay the bills yet? That's when it hit me, I didn't truly love trading back then. I was just using it as a tool to chase that elusive prize called financial freedom. And the more I leaned into that mindset, the deeper I sank into a whirlwind of misery. If you're still with me, I've got a question for you. Why did you step into trading? What's your headspace on this journey? Do you believe that racking up enough cash will set you free? Are you sprinting to escape a place you can't stand anymore? If so, are you sure the next stop is where your heart really wants to be? I get it, we're all different, each with our own unique reason for diving into this market. But maybe what unites us is that deep yearning to live a life unshackled by money. And that's not a bad thing. Yet, if we're fixated on the finish line and ignore the journey, if we're obsessed with numbers and forget the emotions behind each trade, if we're dreaming of freedom while greed and fear drag us down daily, well, we might be backpedaling without even realizing it. Financial freedom can be a destination, but it doesn't come from rushing. It's not born from a few lucky clicks or a string of fortunate trades. It comes from knowing yourself, mastering your emotions, and knowing when to hit the brakes or push the gas. Sometimes, true freedom doesn't start with a massive bank account, it begins the moment money stops calling the shots. If this story's resonating with you, don't forget to hit that like button and spread the value together. If you think someone else needs to hear this, share it so they don't lose their way. Thank you so much. Ever watched a bird released from its cage? It doesn't soar off instantly, it hesitates, glances around, tilts its head as if asking, "Am I really free?" To that bird, the cage wasn't just a prison, it was a habit, a safe zone, a home it once knew. Freedom doesn't mean everyone steps out the moment the door swings open. And for us, the folks chasing financial freedom, that rings even truer. Think back, when was the last time you felt truly free? Was it during a few days off, sleeping in without a phone call waking you? Or maybe that sweet moment you closed a winning trade and thought, if only every day could be like this. But after that high, were you really free, or just caught in a fleeting illusion? Let me share a story with you. I knew a guy named John, a brilliant programmer with a high salary. About 3 years ago, he quit his job, pulled out all his savings, and dove headfirst into trading. He wanted freedom, he said he was done slaving away for a paycheck. At first, things looked good, the market was on his side, and he was making enough to live comfortably, even with some extra to spare. He started dreaming bigger, teaching trading, launching a channel to share his knowledge. But by year 2, the market shifted. Losses piled up, his channel lost its spark, financial pressure mounted, and he couldn't spend like he used to. In the end, he went back to freelancing, the very job he'd walked away from. When I saw him again, he gave a faint smile and said, "Freedom isn't as easy as I thought." Turns out, freedom without discipline is just a fragile dream. That line has haunted me ever since. Have you ever thought like John? Are you chasing financial freedom while forgetting it needs a rock-solid foundation? What's your plan if your account tanks next month? If the market goes sideways for 2 months straight, or if you lose everything, do you have a backup, or are you just hoping it'll all work out? Freedom isn't the absence of limits, it's knowing exactly where your limits are and living proactively within them. Ever wonder why so many lottery winners go broke in a few years? They never learned to master their finances. They had money, but not the mindset, and when it slipped away, they didn't know how to start over. So, if you woke up with $100 million tomorrow, would you know how to hold on to it? Would you really know how to use it to nurture the life you've always wanted? I'm not asking to doubt you, I'm asking so we can face this head-on together. Financial freedom isn't the destination. It's a byproduct of living right, living steady, and truly knowing yourself. I once met a young woman, about 25, who left her office job, learned to trade, and started a side gig as a personal finance consultant. When I asked about her goals, she said, "I don't want a ton of money. I just want to wake up each day without worrying about it, live decently, help my parents, and learn a new skill every year." She didn't have $10 million, but I saw freedom in her eyes. Isn't that wild? So many people have piles of cash but aren't free at all, while others who aren't rich live with such freedom. So, what do you really want? Are you exhausted from being broke, Or are you drained from a race where you don't even know who you're competing against? Did you pick trading because you love it, or because you thought it'd be a shortcut? Are you living your own life, or are you caught up in expectations, comparisons, and pressure from others? These aren't easy questions, but if you've never asked them, you'll keep running without knowing where the finish line is, and that's the scariest part. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, drenched in sweat like you just ran a marathon? Not from a nightmare, but from worry. Scared that tomorrow your account will be in the red again. Dreading a bank notification about maintenance fees, or having to lie to your family, saying you're fine. Have you been there? That's when the dream of financial freedom, something that seems so noble and hopeful, turns into a suffocating shadow. It presses down on your chest, whispering in your ear every day, "You're not good enough. You haven't made it. You're not free." So you dive into more learning, new strategies, new methods, new courses, new indicators. You overtrade, chase revenge on the market after a loss, lose sleep, skip meals, not because you're broke, but because you feel left behind. But hold on, left behind by who? Have you ever asked yourself that? We're not chasing freedom, we're running from helplessness. A guy who used to make $200,000 a month once told me, "I don't even want this much money, but I'm scared if I stop, people will forget me. I'm terrified of being invisible, of not being anyone." I didn't say a word because I got it. Deep down, we all want to feel valuable, to be seen, to be recognized. And money? Sometimes it's the ticket to that world, a world where no one looks down on you, where your voice matters, where you can say no without losing opportunities. So we push ourselves to the limit, working like machines, trading like it's a battlefield. Financial freedom, at some point, became a mask hiding our wounds, covering the emptiness of not knowing who we are without money in the bank. Have you felt that? Ever made a decent chunk of cash, but the joy only lasted a lunchtime before you started planning to double it next month, and the cycle just keeps going? So what's the real destination? I once saw a teacher in his 60s living in a small countryside house, no wealth, no social media, no fame. But every day, he wrote in his journal, meditated, read books, and taught kids for free. He didn't have financial freedom by society's standards, but he had peace. He was free in his own mind. What do you think of that? What's freedom if your mind's still a mess? What is it if you wake up every morning pressured to make more money? We often believe we can only slow down once we've got enough money. But that rushed way of living is exactly what pulls us further from freedom. If you're constantly proving yourself every day, that's a fight, not freedom. If you're more scared of losing than willing to give, that's a chain, not liberation. Think about this: if today was your last day to trade, would you be happy? Or would you regret not making enough? If you had $100 million tomorrow, what would you do with it? Buy a house, invest, retire, then what? What would you do with your days? The truly free person knows what they want, even without a fortune. They can enjoy a cheap cup of coffee without feeling small. Have you ever tried living like that? Have you ever turned off your device, stepped away from the charts, and just talked with your parents? Held your partner's hand for a slow walk down an old street, played with your kids without checking your phone? That might not be financial freedom, but it's freedom of the soul, and that's what we truly need. Ever felt exhausted, even when your account's in the green? Even after a profitable month? That's when you realize having money doesn't erase worry. You worry when you have it, you worry when you lose it, you worry it's not enough. You worry others are moving faster, that you're falling behind. Sound familiar? And then you throw yourself into a new cycle, too scared to rest, to breathe, to enjoy, just pushing forward. Someone once told me, "I'm scared if I stop, I'll fall behind." I asked, behind who? They went silent. Has that question ever stopped you in your tracks? We set out for financial freedom, then lock ourselves in a new prison. The walls aren't concrete, they're expectations. The doors aren't iron, they're comparisons. The lock isn't metal, it's the quiet questions: am I enough? How far ahead are others? Have you ever trapped yourself in those thoughts? In the trading world, we get swept up in numbers. Profit makes us happy, losses make us miserable. We forget that profit and loss aren't everything. What you're trading away is your time, your emotions, your mental peace. If you're not careful, you'll sell it all just for a few green digits. So what's it called when you're profitable but not happy? When you've got financial freedom but still feel pressured to earn more, is that really freedom? Picture this: one morning, you don't check the charts, don't touch your phone. You just make a cup of coffee, step onto the balcony, and take a deep breath. How do you feel, relaxed or anxious? If there's no trade running, do you feel like something's missing? I'm not asking to make you feel guilty, I'm asking so you can see if you're truly living, or just being lived. A seasoned investor once told me, I started feeling real freedom when the market stopped controlling my emotions. That hit me hard because I knew he was right. There was a time I traded for fun, out of curiosity. Then I traded to prove myself. Then I traded out of fear: if I didn't, I'd fall behind. It wasn't until I reflected, how long has it been since I watched a movie without checking my account? Since I had a full meal with family? Since I slept soundly? That's when I realized freedom isn't in your account balance, it's in breathing without strain. Freedom isn't buying everything, it's knowing what you don't need to buy. Freedom isn't about how much money you have, it's about staying clear-headed, not letting money drag you where you don't want to go. What do you think? In a world where everyone's rushing, do you have the guts to slow down? In a noisy market, do you dare to choose stillness? Financial freedom isn't the destination, it's part of the journey to understanding yourself. Sometimes, just grasping that is enough to touch real freedom. Imagine waking up tomorrow with $100 million in your account, no demands, no need to work, no need to trade. What would you do? It sounds simple, but it trips up so many people. Because too often, we run so fast we forget what we're running for. Someone once said, I'd quit my job and travel the world. I asked, for how long? They said, about a year. I followed up, then what? They went quiet. I asked another person, what would you do with $100 million? He replied, I'd invest to turn it into $200 million. I smiled, and then? He said, $500 million, then $1 billion. I whispered, will it ever be enough? He didn't answer. Have you ever asked yourself that, when is it enough? We think freedom means having a ton of money, but without a limit, how much is a ton? Think back to your first day trading. Maybe you just wanted a few extra $1,000 a month. Then you hit $10,000, so you aimed for $50,000, then $100,000. But you stopped sleeping well. Winning didn't make you happy anymore, just scared of losing. You didn't trade to understand the market, you traded to not miss out. You stopped learning and started clinging to what you had. Isn't it ironic? The closer you get to financial freedom, the more tied down you feel. A friend of mine once closed a massive trade, pocketing over $1 million in days. Everyone congratulated him. But that night, he drank alone. I asked why, and he said, I don't feel happy. I just feel pressure to do even better next time. That chilled me to the bone. We talk a lot about controlling emotions while trading, but rarely about controlling them after the money comes. When you've got the cash, are you still you? Financial freedom might open doors, but if you don't know what you truly need, you'll walk through all of them and lose yourself. A wise mentor once said, freedom isn't doing whatever you want, it's not being forced to do what you don't want. I've come to realize that what we need most isn't a big bank balance, but clarity in our minds. What kind of life do you want to live? How do you want to feel each morning? Who do you want to grow old with? What do you want to leave behind? When you have those answers, you don't need $100 million, just enough for the life you choose. Remember, Someone with $1 million whose content might be happier than someone with $200 million who always feels lacking. The question isn't how to achieve financial freedom, it's what does freedom mean to you? What are you living for, and do you dare to pause and listen to yourself? If you've made it this far, I want to say a heartfelt thank you. Thanks for taking the time to listen, but more than that, thanks for having the courage to stop and reflect. The trading journey, or any journey, isn't about outrunning others, it's about understanding yourself a little better each day. Financial freedom might not be the destination, but knowing yourself is a journey worth taking. Slow down if you need to. Stop if you're tired. And if you need a storyteller to join you on the road, swing by here. I'll see you again, wishing you peace and clarity.